Welcome back to another episode of the Popcorn People podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we're going to talk The Fall Guy, best movies of 2024 so far. Maybe a dabble a little bit about the roast of Tom Brady and so many other things to catch you up on. As always, joined by my partner here, Mr. Don Fisher. How are you, bud?
What's popping kernels? I'm always happy when we do this shit, even after a fucking difficult ass weekend that I won't bore you with the details with. But we have been entertained by the WWE showdown that is Drake versus Kendrick. This shit is wild because Drake just dropped a song like an hour ago. It's crazy. And it's funny. I saw a tweet that does make a lot of sense. It said that after Drake's last beef with Pusha T, the Pusha T kind of messed up the rap beef by making it seem like you had to spill tea and drop like little secret things that are going behind it, essentially snitching. And now everybody thinks they have to drop all these jewels and nuggets. But I will say the greatest move we've seen in rap beef history was Drake feeding Kendrick's people fake information and Kendrick doing a whole song or two about it. Come to find out, it was all lies that they gave him. That's hilarious to me. That is a movie twist if I've ever seen one. I don't know if any of these issues are like legitimate, like when I see you, we're going to fight type issues. But if not, this is WWE.
Yeah, so my question to you is this. Okay, so I don't feel like, well, you brought up something that I don't feel like is being talked about enough. Why aren't more people talking about the fact that Drake like reeled him in, hooked him, and then like let it go? Like that to me is something that doesn't make any sense because I feel like we're like completely alienating that. Like I don't know about the entire thing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm well out. I've listened to everything. I listened to the Drake one an hour ago. I thought that shit was pretty good. People are like, "Oh, this is shitty," and then it's like people are team Drake, people are team Kendrick, and I'm just team like this is fun. Like this is like old school shit. Like this is like, you know what I mean? Like we're early 90s, late 80s, hip hop type shit. Like just be happy we got two people going head to head. It's like when people have like, you have like a Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes, you know what I mean? Like enjoy that while you can. This is not something that always happens. Like Kendrick versus Drake. I don't really give a shit. I'm not on a side. I'm just here having a good time. And like I said, I don't really know the truth. I just don't understand why some people are like, I was reading under the, you read under the tweet, the tweets and the messages, and you're just like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why are we not talking more about Drake reeling him in and reeling his people in with this fake information? Not only did he take it, he rapped hardcore about it, he dissed about it, and he was dissing about nothing. Like,
and he had to delete. He had to delete his old cover work for one of the songs because the cover work was a joke at his expense, and he didn't realize it.
Like, what do we? That's some goat. I don't give a shit about. Look, okay, let me explain something to you. Kendrick might have the bars and stuff like that, which is great. I don't care. Like again, don't come at me. I'm just a white dude dissecting this. I understand that, okay? But my thing is this: like, you're right. That's like an old WWE, like move. You know what I mean? Like Eddie Guerrero threw the chair, fell down. The referee turns around and fucking. He catches Kendrick with the chair. That's the thing. Like that was what Drake. Drake threw the chair to the referee. The referee turned around or threw the chair at Kendrick, right? Kendrick caught the chair. The referee turned around. Drake's on the ground, selling his head from a chair shot, and the ref catches Kendrick, with the chair in his hand. That's exactly what happened, and we're not talking enough about it. Again, don't come for me, guys. I just think it's hilarious that I feel like that's one of the craziest things I've ever heard, and it's one of the coolest things like that to me alone. Means Drake won. And I understand that. I don't really care about bars. I don't care. I don't care about the rest of it. You took the bait. You rapped about the bait. You dissed about the bait. And then you made yourself look like a fool. Case closed.
Yeah, it's like boxing. If you go all 10 rounds, but you had, you got deducted 2 points and there was a draw. It looked like it was going to be a draw. You lost.
Exactly.
Like, sorry. You could have like one of your best matches ever, but you got deducted some points, bro. And
Hey, you could have the best fight of your life, but after the fight, you get busted with PEDs. It's no longer matters anymore. What Ryan Garcia, whatever his name is, you
yep,
fucking moron. Like,
yep,
come on, man. Like, we got analogies for days. Again, I don't really care who you. Everybody in the world can debate whether or not who had the better bars, but to me, the whole entire thing is clarified by him reeling him in, sucking him in, making him do a entire diss track, and then having to just be like, oh. Well, I'm just
yeah,
gonna make another one to make you forget about that one.
yeah. And to circle it back to movies, we all have our types, we all have our favorites, and the debate always comes into like, if you take two movies that are similar, which one's better? Now, if someone like, say, a Nolan, a Tarantino, a Scorsese makes a movie, it automatically gets this cachet because of who it is and how they make their films. But if a newcomer makes a movie with that's very similar, it automatically gets looked down upon because, well, theirs is flashier, so it's probably not as good or whatever the case. And then we have Kendrick, who speaks and raps in a certain tone versus an energetic, more lively Drake. People look at the person who's a little more chill as deep, and the other person can say something just as deep, and people deem it not as deep. They take it at face value. So it's very interesting to see how people take in information. Because you could be a genius to say something stupid, but they're gonna think it's genius because you're considered a genius. So
Right. Exactly. It's crazy. I don't know. This entire thing's crazy to me. I just thought that was one of the wild things to me. I'm glad you clarified it to this white dude that understood exactly what I understood what happened, exactly how it happened, and I feel good about that. So, yeah. Speaking of movies, The Fall Guy released this week. We had a screener for it Tuesday. I sadly couldn't make it. Just like Dom, unforeseen circumstances in life, love, and the pursuit of happiness happened. But I'll let Dom have the floor here with The Fall Guy.
All right, The Fall Guy. After leaving the business 1 year earlier, battle-scarred stuntman Colt Seavers swings back into action when the star of a big studio movie suddenly disappears. As the mystery surrounding this missing actor deepens, Colt soon finds himself ensnared in a sinister plot that pushes him to the edge of a fall more dangerous than any stunt. Stars Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, and this movie is one of the funnest movies of the year. And I say that confidently because when you look at this from the outside, when you haven't seen it, it looks like an action film. It talks about a stuntman. You see explosions, you see cars and guns, and you go, it's an action movie. And at its core, this is a rom-com, but it is done and delivered like we don't see very often. I know that we've been in talks of the rom-coms making a comeback, and with Sydney Sweeney's rom-com, it took us back to what we're used to. This launches us forward into a new direction where a rom-com can be something other than a meet cute and people with regular lives and things that we can easily relate to because it looks like us. And this takes it and puts it in in Hollywood. It puts us in something that it's explosive love and explosive everything else. I mean, the chemistry between Ryan and Emily is phenomenal. The jokes and the timing are hilarious. The way that they pay homage, I mean, it is a love letter to the stunt business. It is to all the behind the scenes people. We get these glimpses of kind of the movie magic that we don't see inside of a film, rather behind the scenes. And there's little Easter eggs throughout the movie that makes it fun. Callbacks to other action franchises, callbacks to franchises of Ryan's as well. And I had no idea that this was is based on the TV show. I didn't know The Fall Guy was an 80s TV show. No one had been talking about that fact, but then I told some other people and they're like, "No, is it based off the TV show?" And I was like, "What TV show?" They're like, "The Fall Guy." And I went and looked it up and I was like, "Oh." So there's things at the end that make more sense now that I know that. But I mean, super big explosions and fight scenes and choreo, and I mean, I don't know how Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling continue to get better. They already look the way they look, which is not fair. But then when their acting there's a comfortability, I think, that they have with each other, that they have with other people, that just it, I don't know, it just makes you feel that much more attached to the story because they seem so attached to the story. And Aaron Taylor Johnson, hilarious. He plays kind of a stereotypical, you know, jackass. And my boy Winston Duke. Anytime I see Winston Duke, I'm happy, and I'm so glad that he was able to have a lot more screen time than I expected him to have, and he's a very pivotal part of this movie. Yeah, it's easily gonna creep into people's top 10, maybe top 5 so far this year. It is still somewhat early, but it's definitely one. It's made for the theater. I know the box office numbers didn't look great, and it could be because the rollout at South by Southwest was a little early for it. I'm not sure, but if no other movie besides like your giant monster movies are made for the theater, this movie is made to see in the theater. Sound, visuals. This is a definitely fun theater experience that I didn't see anybody dislike in my screening. I did see one person afterwards that tweeted that he seemed not to like it as much as everybody else. I won't say no names. He knows who he is. But no, it's great. It's fun. It's heartwarming. It's got a little bit of everything. And if you saw our fan or audience reactions, they all kind of summed it up: funny, clever, heartwarming, charming, and Ryan Gosling steals the show. So like, it's definitely one to see.
Oh shit! Didn't mean to drop you. But yeah, why is it so close? All right, yeah, but I'm excited to check it out. I love Ryan Gosling. I think Ryan Gosling is one of the best working actors. If you look at his body of his work, I don't think you can see. There's not many guys. I feel like he's on an island with like Jake Gyllenhaal. You know what I mean? Like these guys. If you just look at, it's crazy. If you look at Ryan Gosling's body of work, you know what I mean? Barbie, La La Land, Drive, The Notebook, Place Beyond the Pines, The Crazy Stupid Love, The Nice
Blade
Guys.
Runner.
You know what I mean? Like Blade Runner, like his range, First Man, Only God Forgives, Murder by Numbers, Half Nelson, like Gangster Squad. Like there's just his range speaks for itself. You know what I mean? Like he's immensely talented and it's crazy. And I can't wait to watch it. I'm just a fan of his, and I'm a fan of Emily Blunt, who I think is fantastic as well.
Yeah, so. If you would have told me the goofy guy from Remember the Titans would be this guy, I would not believe you. And here we are. Like it is definitely his time to shine. Hopefully he gets all the roles he deserves to get in the next coming years. Because, you know, we all kind of realize that we see like there's waves of turns that the industry kind of takes. And right now it's Ryan's turn.
Yeah, I really hope that he gets another movie to sink his teeth into. Like, you know, I would love to see him back in the Oscar conversation with something meatier here in the near future, just because I think he's that talented of an actor that definitely belongs in the conversation. Something he should have gotten for First Men. Still, you know, harboring a lot of feelings over that. Let's see here. We can talk about, I don't know if you watch any of the roast of Tom Brady. Some of it, I've only seen about half of it so far. It's amazing. It's incredibly uncomfortable to watch Tom Brady listen to jokes about his wife over and over and over and over again.
No.
Nikki Glazer absolutely fucking dropped bombs on the fucking
Nikki
stage.
is the most ruthless,
Yes.
roaster, because you don't for one, you if you don't watch roast, you don't expect the tall blonde to like come out with machetes and axes and just hack into the person they're roasting, but
Yeah.
she is a beast at it.
Yeah, she killed and absolutely murdered, and I thought she was fantastic. I'm gonna watch the second half of it. Bill Belichick was there too, which was definitely interesting. Most I've ever seen that man smile, but I look forward to watching the rest of it. But we decided we're gonna do this last week. Obviously, it's May, but there has been 4 months of the year, meaning that through the first 4 months of the year, Dom and I have seen a bunch of movies, and we're going to talk about our top 5 movies of 2024 so far, our best performances of 2024 so far, and we just lumped in. I lumped in girls and boys together. Hopefully, he did the same. If he did separate, then we're screwed. But and then top 5 most anticipated, which I was really hard, like dwindling it down to 5. But I just brought up the first 5 that came to my head. I could probably list about 50 of them.
Yeah.
But that being said, we'll start out with what are some of your most anticipated movies of basically the next or the rest of the year, I guess you could say, even.
Like this was really hard to like put 5 because I literally I have my 5 and then I have like 10 or 12 like honorable mentions that I was trying to move. I was like, okay, I'm gonna swap that one and this one, that one, but I'll go 5-1. And it's depending on how close we get to certain ones, the anticipation may grow, and in my mind, it might switch things up. But for now, number 5, I have Joker, Folie à Deux. 4, I have The Strangers, Chapter 1. 3, I have Long Legs. 2, Maxine. 1, Deadpool and Wolverine. And a lot of my honorable mentions are actually a lot of horror films.
Yeah.
But
mine, I got Beverly Hills Cop. Just because I'm such
I forgot. I just watched the first 2 the other again for like
so
the 50th time. Dude, they're so good.
I fucking love Eddie Murphy. He's just one of the best of all time. Nosferatu, I think it's called. Robert Eggers' latest. My friend Kenzie, she saw some footage at the CinemaCon or whatever. Said it looks great. Bill Skarsgård, who I just love Skarsgård. Period. Obviously, you could talk about Skarsgård's other film coming out, but Night Bitch, the movie with Amy Adams. Really looking forward to that. Joker. And the other one that I'm surprised you didn't mention was Twisters. Oh my God, that's.
Oh yeah, I mean that's more my wife than it is me. I did forget about that one. There's so many like ones.
It really is.
Like I have also on my list. I have like Trap. I have The Watchers. I have Borderlands, The Bike Riders, A Quiet Place Day One.
Oh, The Bike Riders is so good, dude.
In a Violent Nature, Cuckoo, Megalopolis. Like there's so many.
Yeah,
there's so many.
Yeah, it's definitely there's definitely a lot. Couldn't narrow it down to 5. I mean, there's just so much shit coming out. Strangers, I'm looking forward to. That's really soon, I think, too, right?
Nah, I think the 17th.
It is this month, isn't it? Oh, it is.
And I have that. Like, okay, look, people don't talk up when we talk about horror films. People don't bring up The Strangers enough, and I feel like it's because it came out when we were all kind of like high school or beginning of college, something like that. That is one of the only. I love horror. Everybody knows me knows I love horror films. And that is one of the only horror films that has ever really like crawled under my skin that wasn't like some kind of like infested recently with all spiders and shit. But The Strangers, just the fact that one line, why are you doing this to us? Because you're home. That fucking freaked me the fuck out. Just because like there are those people and there are all those mindsets, and it's like that could happen anywhere to anybody. And the same notion is that like me and my wife, when we got married, we had our reception the day after our wedding, and the place that we stayed in was a fucking cabin in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, yo, I just kind of set us up for some like horror movie type shit. There was no lights around the place. Like you can't, once it was dark, you couldn't see shit. And I remember when we had everybody at the crib, we thought everybody was there, and we see this car, and it's a long like driveway. The driveway is like quarter of a mile. We see this car coming, and we're like, who else is supposed to come? I'm looking around. I think that's everybody. So they pulled up and they parked and we're like, who is that? And it was like, I don't know. Hey, go get something. We finna go check this out. And of course, everybody's kind of like, we don't know who it is. It's dark, man. It was my uncle. Oh, hey. I was like, bruh, you almost got your head blown smooth off creeping up here like this, man.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I have to watch it again. I
Me
feel
too.
like
I have it here
I
somewhere.
I'm trying to remember which one I didn't. Wasn't there two?
Yeah, I didn't see the second one.
Yeah.
I just remember the first one. And it was almost one of those ones where I'm glad they're doing this like this new 3-chapter thing, but at the time I didn't think it warranted a sequel because I feel like you leave that open up in the air and let it like linger and be what the fuck, and you wonder for years why they were doing this. Like there had to be some kind of reason. But I
Yeah.
guess we're about to find out.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Now, with that being said, we're going to go through our top 5 performance of the year so far. I don't think this was as hard narrowing it down. I did cheat because I have 2 films on here that haven't been released yet. I don't really care. So good. But Dom, give me 5, 4, 3. I'll give you 5, 4, 3, and then we'll do 2, 1.
Okay. So for me, I just kind of did what you did for the anticipation. I went for ones that I knew were strong, but they were the first things that pop into my head that kind of have stuck with me all year long.
Yeah.
So 5, Jenna Ortega and Miller's Girl. 4, Lakeith Stanfield, The Book of Clarence. 3, Liam McKendrick and Scrambled.
Ooh, Leah's a pretty good one. That's a real good one.
Yeah.
I almost put her on here. 5, I've got Katie O'Brien, Love Lies Bleeding. 4, I got Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, not out yet. Sorry in advance. That performance wrecked me, dude. It wrecked me so bad. And then 3, I got Kaylee Spaney for Civil War.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
What do you got for 2 and 1?
2 and 1. Hey, it's new, it's fresh, but it stuck out. It's 2 is Ryan Gosling, The Fall Guy, and number 1 is Dev Patel, Monkey Man.
2, I've got Andre Holland for Exhibiting Forgiveness, not out yet. Sorry in advance. I did find out that recently, 2 weeks ago, Roadside Attraction did pick the film up.
Nice.
It's supposed to come out in the fall, and they're going to give it an awards push, which I'm very excited about because he's fantastic in it. My number 1 performance of the year so far, Timothée Chalamet for Dune Part 2.
He floated around my shit, and I was like, I don't know, man. And yeah.
Kristen Dunst was really close too for Civil War too.
Yeah, I had both of them as like honorable mentions.
Yeah. I can't. And it's funny because a lot of all of that's literally just my top 5 films of the year too. I mean, it just kind of goes, it intertwines. I mean, and it's weird enough that I did it. I didn't even recognize that I did this. I did in the same order that I have my films in order. What I just ranked those 5 through 1 is 5 through 1 of my films too. So 5 through 1 through my films. I got Love Lies Bleeding at 5, A Real Pain at 4, Civil War at 3, Exhibiting Forgiveness at 2, and Dune Part 2 at 1. And Civil War is really, really close to becoming number 2 or 1. I saw it twice. I want to watch it again, but I'm like at a strong 4.5 stars in that film right now. And if I see it again and I really love it again, I'm at a strong almost 5 stars because I still think that Civil War, it's just one of the best. I don't know. It's just.
There's one movie I keep seeing pop up all over different group chats and different Twitter feeds that I need to see. Is it We Grown Now? And I haven't seen it yet. And I really want to, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. I think it's doing the festival run right now.
Gotcha. Yeah. I know.
And then select theaters in the festival run.
Oh, it comes out release date April 19th. Oh, that's
I think it was select theaters when it released.
Oh, it came out TIFF, select release. Yeah. Sony Picture Classic. Got it. Yeah. I'll have to check it out too. Won the Audience Award for Best U.S. Feature at the Chicago International Film Festival last year. Bet. Great. Just another movie I need to add to my list. I got enough of them right now.
Right.
Yeah. So what is your 5 through 1?
Oh, for my top movie so far, 5, The Fall Guy. 4, Love Lies Bleeding. 3 is Monkey Man.
What about 2 and 1? I gave my 5 away, I think,
Oh
already.
yeah, and then 2 Civil War, and number 1 is Dune Part 2.
Oh, so we got some of them. Yeah. Yeah, Civil War is so good, man. So good.
Yeah, no, like it's crazy because I feel I think Dune and Civil War are one of those movies that you see in the theater and you know you want to watch it again, and they say you want to watch it at home. You're like, fuck, I need to like buy a new TV now. like,
I really want to watch Doom Part 2 again so
I do
bad,
too.
but I don't want to watch it again. It's like
I did see the last like 15, 20 minutes recently again because I think it was one of our screenings and we went in there early a little bit to like see like how much time they had left, and I just stood there and I was like, oh yeah, this is a good part.
oh, dude, that fight between Austin Butler and Chalamet, dude. Oh my god, that's one of the that's just one of the things that stands out to me. Is what I want to remember to watch or see again. What do we got here? Anything else that you care to mention before we wrap up this episode?
Um, this morning, I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it live last night, but I did watch Woke Folk, Cat Williams' new stand up. I think it's great.
Who?
Cat Williams.
Oh, was it good?
Yeah.
I heard it sucked.
Well, look, it's. I don't know how to describe. It doesn't. It's not streamlined like a story per se. Now, Cat did fall off for me. His last like 2 I watched weren't. I wasn't super excited about him. This one I thought was genuinely had a lot of laughs. He's kind of in his Dave bag in his own type of way. He's not a super calm, super serious person, but he is like he is observing society in this one in a very big way, and he is of course gonna like do the Cat thing and embellish the things for comedic sake. But I thought it was done pretty well. It's a solid hour that doesn't have a lot of lulls, so I thought it was pretty good. Watched Unfrosted. Unfrosted is okay. It's
Yeah,
just
I've heard it's
okay.
pretty terrible. So
Yeah, because it was a fictionalized version of the story. The only thing that I think is real was that it took place in a certain town in Michigan, and like the release date or Post and Kellogg's did have this kind of war of who would put out this pastry thing first. Everything else, the names and everything, are fabricated. Um, and I think
fuck Jerry Seinfeld.
I know he'd been on some old man shit lately, like some
Dude, it's
saltine
crazy to me
shit.
because like it's crazy to me because he said what he said about you can't release comedy things anymore. I'm like, do you watch specials anymore? Like Dave
I
Chappelle's doing whatever the
know.
fuck he wants in these streets, and he's still getting paid. He's still getting specials. Cat Williams out here in these streets doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Yep.
Matt Rife has stormed out of nowhere,
Yep.
did whatever the fuck he wanted, how he wanted it, did his
Tom
funded his own
Segura,
specials. Funded
Christina
all his specials.
P.
Now fucking Matt Rife's got his own fucking specials. He's got Netflix in his back
Yep.
pocket now. He's making a movie now.
Yep.
Like
I think what that exposes, and it's only it's a slight, but a slight because they didn't age with the times. But the people who are saying that, the comedians are saying that, it's because they can't do better than what they've done. If they go, oh, if you're upset because you go, oh, I can't say what I want to say, or it's they're censoring comedy, then you got to do better then, because Whitney's not pulling punches, Tom's not pulling punches, Bert's not pulling punches, Dave, Donnell, like those, you can name a whole list off. They're not pulling any punches. They're just writing better. I mean,
yeah.
Taylor's
it's
is phenomenal, and they also too go if you're having that much trouble, you might have to go more personal experience. Like Taylor's last special is good as shit because she goes off her personal experiences and is able to flip every single aspect of her life and make it funny. Jerry and them gotta do better, man. Like they're the only ones.
He's just a crying old man.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. He's just like a crying.
And the best person in Unfrosted is Melissa McCarthy. He's not even like she steals every scene that she's in that movie. Him and Gaffigan are like, okay, I guess. But Melissa is the person who made the movie fun.
I don't. I just to me, he rubbed me the complete wrong. I've never been a fan. I think Seinfeld is super fucking overrated. So
I do
I've
like Curb Your
never.
Enthusiasm though, but he ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I've never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm either. But to me, I've never been a Seinfeld guy. I always thought it was fucking stupid. But but yeah, I just I don't know. He just again, I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way because it's like there's literally actively comedians out in these streets busting their ass
Yep.
to get to these levels, and they're doing their damnedest and they're working their ass off, doing work that we appreciate as stand-up comedy fans.
Yep.
Because you and I, nobody, and I would say this, we're in a small bubble of like, I would say rarely people enjoy stand-up comedy just as much as Dom and I do. Like nobody,
Right.
like we talk about it regularly. You know what I mean? Like we do, and we love it. And it's like we see these people out in these streets working their ass off, getting these specials and getting this work in. I mean, I watch 45, 50 specials a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like,
Right.
sit your old geriatric ass down. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh,
ain't
I
nobody
did.
care.
I did finally finish Fallout. Fallout's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I
Fallout's
like it. It's a
fantastic.
banger.
I finished Unlocked. Um, that's that. Look, man. I know
Fuck is
that
online.
if you watch the Jail Experiment,
Ah, that shit's a banger.
yeah. If people they've only watched a couple episodes and you thought Randall, what do you call him, True Story, is a villain, he kind of is, but he takes a fucking character turn that is so great and so great to see because you see a person who had to be hardened and he was trying to do something good, but his persona was like, I have to like maintain my toughness, and and to see all these people open up and like realize like we have to work together to complete something, even though we're all felons, some of us murderers, we're different gangs and all this to do. It's fucking phenomenal, man. Like, and I hope that this can be done throughout the country. I know it's gonna be a slow rollout to everywhere because I know this season of this show, they're gonna eventually try to do it in another unit of the jail, and if they're able to do this and more, and go throughout the U.S. and do this, which is gonna be hard because privately owned prisons, they don't care about people. They want labor, but if you really want to rehabilitate people and turn them back into like functioning members of society, like watch this series because it is so good, so good.
I'll tell you what is crazy. You watch the show. I saw some lady complain, and at first I was like, man, I understand what she was saying. She was like, it was hard watching the show because the man accused of killing her son was on the show, and does he deserve a second chance, and does he deserve this? And then if you read further into the article, you start to read that the man that was accused of killing her son was let out because he didn't commit the crime.
Right.
So this is my question, okay? You have a man that was arrested for murder, right? Probably, I mean, I would be willing to bet he stood trial for the murder, or maybe he didn't. I don't know the whole facts behind it, but let's just say he maybe stayed a month in jail. Let's just say I don't know how long he was in jail. I'm not gonna. I'm just. I don't know. Let's just say he was in jail for a lengthy period of time. A, for a murder he ended up not committing. So this man went to jail and was behind bars for 23 hours a day. 1 hour a day he was let out of his jail cell. Okay. So yeah, sure, he was arrested for murder. You get put into a spot, maybe that's not so comfortable. But what about the innocent?
Yep.
Like at the end of the day, like what about the innocent? Like you put these people behind bars 23 hours, like that's inhumane. That's
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
inhumane.
Look how everybody acted during the pandemic, and you're locked in your nice house that you've cultivated to your liking,
Right.
and people are flipping out, and
And
then you
you're
take,
locked in a room with another person for
with a
20, and
toilet
you
in there.
wonder why. You
Yep.
wonder, you have to watch him shit, you have to watch him piss, you have to watch him do every bodily fluid thing known to man.
Yep.
But you wonder why that 1 hour a day they get out of there and they want to fucking rough some shit up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It was an eye-opening experience. I do hope that this is something that continues to happen because I understand. Like I am very. You do the crime, you do the time.
Yeah.
However, let's say, since dude over here did armed robbery, or just say you robbed the bank. All right, you were sentenced to 10 years in prison. What is he supposed to do in 10 years?
Right.
He did the time. You know what I mean? Like, if you do the crime, do the time. You know what I mean? Let's say he gets out 10 years. So for 10 years, let's just say he's in this prison, 23 hours a day, 1 hour a day, he gets free. What do you think he's going to do in 10 years? Do you think he'll probably have anybody life? Like, not a lot of people have people waiting for him. You see this in the show. You see the realness of the phone call situation, the people not getting the phone call, like all of that shit. That to me was just like visitation, like people not getting visitation, stuff like that. I mean, and then if you look at the end of it, some of these people have really rebuilt themselves and used this experiment to better themselves. You know what I mean? Like,
because they even say it, a lot of them end up being institutionalized. So the whole way of thinking is fucked up to where not only inside there, but when they get out and then they just come right back. So the system, of course, the saying has been adopted that the system works as it should. It's working how it should, or how they want it to work. But if you want people, and especially I think this whole program is so good because if you are in there and you're innocent and you happen to be in there with a bunch of murderers and gang members, and you're not about any of that life, and what happens to you? You get bullied, you get beat up, you get whatever happens to you, and you're like, I'm not supposed to even be here, and you get stuck in this situation. And some people, they might not see trial for 2-3 years, so you go in one way where you're like, I haven't done anything, I'm innocent, I'm just trying to do my trying to wait for my trial, and they say it takes 3-4 years for that to happen. You're going to be a completely different person. You've seen and had to do things that you did not want to do, and you get out, and now you're screwed. Your whole mental is messed up, and you might even go about life in a completely different way because you have been completely changed. So, yeah, they have this is a good example of these are still people. We know they messed up. That's why they're in here. But at the same time, these are not just people that you throw away. They're not animals, because if you treat them like that, when they get out, they will do some animalistic shit again.
Yeah, they're institutionalized. Some of them have spent more time in jail than they have in the real world.
Yep.
And you wonder why there's a pattern. I mean, I don't know, dude. There's so many. I don't know. I could talk about that show and talk about the impact of that show, like the people that should have watched that show for days upon days. But yeah, next week, Dom and I think we're going to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which I'm excited about, but I found out it's 2 hours and 25 minutes long, and I'm no longer as excited about it anymore, which is really sad because that is a long time for movies. But at least we'll be in comfortable seats. So that being said, King of the Planet of the Apes comes out next week. I really want to see that I Saw the TV Glow movie or whatever the hell it's called. I keep seeing a lot about it and nothing. I haven't. None of the theaters here are playing it. I know it was released limited, but I'm like, are we getting a wide release for this thing? I'm actually, while we're on the air, guys, I'm gonna go look and see if I can. Coming soon. What the hell is this? There's just some weird ass movies on this Regal app sometimes.
And while you're looking, people watch Baby Reindeer, and that's pretty good too.
I haven't watched that yet.
People have been, I guess because I think
talking about it.
Yeah, I think we're of course we're a little jaded because we watch so much content, and people were raving this was the craziest thing they'd ever seen. It's not to me, but it is fantastic. It's very human, and it's very a flawed human. We see how and why we make certain decisions and how we want to be nice even through messed up situations. It's very interesting, and the fact that it's a true story is even crazier. And I also watched Good Times, the first couple episodes of Good Times, the new animated series that people are pissed about. And I tell those people, just watch full episodes, because I know it's mainly Black people that are mad. And I understand you don't want to see the stereotypes anymore, but the show still has positive messages in every show, but it's just goofy fun. And they want it to be, the family from the projects trying to do better, and you know, the best with what they have. And like I said, it's crazy, it's wacky, but there is a lot of very positive messages. Because if you know Yvette Nicole Brown, like if you see her talk, you watch her interviews, you see her tweet, she's not gonna do no show that she thinks is like degrading on a high level to black people. So take that into consideration, and I say give it a chance. Give it at least 3 episodes. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but like give it a chance before you just write it off because of a trailer.
People in this world write things off way faster than they should. Dom, you should already know these things, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy how fast people just throw away things. But with that being said, that is it for this week's episode of the podcast. We are out of here for the week. Like I said, we'll be back next week talking Planet of the Apes, and God knows what else we decide to talk about. Who knows? Maybe more Drake and Kendrick coming in your near future. Who knows? Listen to Ricky Valero break down Drake versus Kendrick coming to the theater near you. Also, real quick before we go, I did find out first off, it makes me feel old as shit, but it's the 30th anniversary of The Crow. It is coming to theaters. If you've never seen it in theaters, it's coming to theaters.
It's my favorite movie. Go watch it.
May 29th and May 30th, and it's coming to theaters, so that's kind of cool. So if you've never seen it in a big screen, watch it before the new one comes out. So that being said, we're out and about.